What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Layback Podcast. Joining us today is left-handed pitcher, super senior, New Mexico State Aggie, Connor Wylde. This man thought he had used up every ounce of eligibility he had, and by the graces of God, he has found another. It's kind of weird to say that about a guy who's only going into his fifth year when there's like ninth year seniors playing college baseball right now. But nonetheless, Connor and I were going back and forth at the end of the year about laying it all out there, this being his final bout. And 2 weeks later, I get a message saying, like, I'm back, baby. Got another. With that, I'm just going to pass it over to Connor. Excited to have this chat today. Of course, we're going to talk about his background with elbow injury, a little bit about his shoulder, the things he's fought through to become who he is today. So, Connor, thanks again for joining us and looking forward to it.
All blessings be to the Lord, but thank you, Diego Pavia, man, because he's the one that got me that fifth year. Kind of came out of the blue, like he said. I was not expecting it. I think I kind of figured out that halfway through the season, I was going to get my fifth super senior year. Been super excited about that ever since I found out. Didn't really know where I was going to end up, but got the chance to play again for my third year at New Mexico State University. Love Angier. Wouldn't be going back there if I didn't. So I would say my baseball journey kind of started around junior year of high school, because that's around when I met Payton Lobdell. He's kind of been the guy that started the whole passion for development for me. Played a little bit of first base before then, could hit a home run in my last high school at bat. That's probably going to be my claim to fame forever. I still have the game changer screenshot. That's the only proof I have. But after that, junior year comes around. Payton is a coach on, I think it's JV. I didn't really get to talk to the guy much because at the time I was a junior on varsity, so we didn't really spend much time together on the field. But it was that spring that COVID hit, I believe, because it was 2019 fall going into 2020 for me. Yeah. And that's when I don't remember exactly how it happened, whether he reached out to me or he reached out to the whole team letting us know. But he has a backyard bullpen and I need to throw. I wanted to continue to throw. I go to Marina to try to get into their bullpen. It's closed. I'm like, hey, Payton, can I come throw a bullpen? I've got my catcher with me. He's like, absolutely, man. And then here we are 5 years later. I haven't even looked back. I haven't even thought about training with anybody else. The guy's given me just about every opportunity that's come my way because I've worked with him. I've worked with the pitching doctor. I've worked with DAC Performance through him. I've got Armored Heat through him. I was introduced to FlexPro Grip through him. And everything that I've learned has basically been thanks to Payton for the last 5 years. I mean, if it weren't for him, I'm not exactly sure where I'd be, because I went to Cypress because of him. He got me that connection. And then I probably wouldn't have continued to develop at Cypress because they didn't have the tools that I needed. He did. Cypress was great. We won a bunch of games, but the guy was a little bit old school, in my opinion. We got around that. That's just fine now. Flash forward to, I think it's my first year at New Mexico State. I hurt my shoulder. I guess I should probably tell them about my elbow first, huh?
Yeah. We should probably pick up at the elbow, and you don't even need to get into that right now just yet,
Okay.
because we can kind of pick apart the stories. I want to spend some time even talking about your relationship with Peyton, the
Mm-hmm.
development, because I think that really shows how you got to the point of even hurting your
Mm-hmm.
elbow. Not
Yeah.
saying like those two are fully linked, but
Mm-hmm.
as you said, you never would have been in this position where you're
Right.
performing,
Mm-hmm.
where I mean, who knows if you even still would have been playing baseball at that point if
Right.
you didn't make these massive development jumps.
Yeah.
So when you started throwing with Peyton back your junior year of high school, what caliber player were you? How hard were you throwing? You're tall as hell now. You're one tall
Yeah.
drink of water at 6'7". But I
Right.
mean, what was the body comp way back junior year of high school?
So definitely not 6'7". I was a lot smaller and a lot pudgier back then. That's for sure. I probably weighed somewhere around 200 pounds at 6 foot, 6'2" maybe. So he had definitely a little project in front of him. I wasn't exactly a walk in the park for a project, but yeah, it started off with arm path issues because I was moving like a giraffe. he helped me with the arm path issues. And then I think I kind of lost that when I went to driveline outside of high school. When I graduated high school, I skipped going to graduation because I thought that was stupid, and then went straight to Washington and spent 2 months out there. And then when I came home, that's when I started my Cypress journey. But throughout the whole thing, I was talking to Payton, because as much as driveline is really cool and they have a ton of super awesome tools, it's not very personalized, if that makes any sense. So if it's, oh, hey, I need help with my lead leg block or my glove side, they'll give you 2 drills, and that's for everybody. But Payton is very much more complex, which is what I think I needed. He's the type to watch you throw the ball, maybe take a video or two, and then that's when he takes his job very seriously, and he has to come up with the drills for you. He finds something that works for you instead of throwing a program at you, like saying, this is what worked for everybody else. This is what we've seen with the most statistical result or whatever. And instead, he's like, this is the way I think your body moves. I think this is what you should do. And it'll optimize your movements or whatever, what have you. And I think that's been where I've seen the most growth from myself, and especially having him be around the corner from me. He even moved closer when he got the facility. Actually, he was only 10 minutes away. Now he's 5, which is awesome. I basically have that facility and stuff just in my back pocket, and he's there all the time. So I just need to pick up a baseball and he's watching. It's super awesome to have that and have that environment for growth, because like you said, or like I said, I guess, I wouldn't be still playing. And then the injuries, they come and go with baseball. I've kind of learned that you're not really playing hard if you're not, I don't want to say you're not playing hard if you're not getting injured.
But towing that line, that race.
Yeah, if you're not like going all out in your outings and leaving it all out there, I mean, you're going to be sore, and sometimes soreness leads to issues. But I think the competitiveness I've learned from Angier, but everything else has been Payton. Pitch design we've done together, velocity development. I mean, I used to throw, I think junior year, I was maybe 80, 82. By my senior year, when we were playing again, after having taken, March through, I don't even know how long that COVID summer was, taking all that time off, I was working with Payton that whole time. Because after that one bullpen with my catcher, like I said, never looked back, trained there the whole time. He started small. He had the bullpen, and then he added a gym in the shed, and then the gym turned into a recovery session, and the gym moved to his garage. Like that thing went through an entire evolution out there. I was there for all of it. I loved seeing it. Now it's in the facility. It's like it's come full circle. Like I said, training with him that whole summer, I went from 80, 82, coming back my senior year to play probably 85, 86, maybe touching 87, which I understood at the time wasn't exactly D1 stuff. I understood especially that I think I found my passion too late, and I kind of had to bite the bullet on, okay, I didn't train for as long as I had. So I knew that it was probably the junior college route for me if I wanted to continue to play. I think I had Sonoma State University watching me in high school, which is a D2 in Northern California.
RIP to them.
Are they done?
They're shutting down.
Oh, man, I didn't even hear about that. That's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
Wow. I actually had a buddy that was playing on that team. I don't even
sorry
know
to break that news to you on here.
It stinks. You never want to hear about that, man. Baseball team getting shut down, whatever level it is. Anyway, I talked to most of the teams in the Orange Empire Conference, which Payton was highly recommending. There's other JUCOs around the area that I could have gone to, but ended up going with Cypress because Payton had very high regard for Coach Scott Pickler, who was his coach in 2012 and 2013 when they won the Triple CAA JUCO World Series. Anyway, after training with him, getting up to 84, 87, not getting any D1 looks, going to Cypress, I hurt my elbow my freshman year. That's when it all kind of hit me how tough this really is, because it was going so well. I had a really successful senior year, saw the growth at Driveline that I wanted to see. I understood how much dedication it took to development, because I saw growth at Driveline, and I saw that it was I was capable of doing it, but it was very little in the time that I spent there. I think I spent like 2 months and gained maybe 3 ticks of velocity and started feeling some elbow pain at the same time. Wasn't too bad, was able to throw throughout the fall. And then that's when the sprain happened in my elbow. So yeah, the sprain happened, and fall wasn't too bad. I feel like the workload was managed well. I was surprised by the amount of conditioning we had to do. I ended up tearing both my patellar tendons. Needed some PRP injections for that. I think my knees are fully healed. I'm able to squat just as much as I can now. We did some inner squats in the fall. I was throwing in relief, trying to earn a spot just because I was young. But it was just so happened that you actually probably know him, Josh Landry. I was there with him. He was still returning to throw. I think when I came my first year, I was one of 2 lefties. It was me and him, and his shoulder hurt, I want to say, because he was rehabbing from his elbow, comes back, has shoulder problems, and then is out for another year. So I'm the only lefty on the staff. I think that contributed to me ending up spraining my elbow. I'm not sure because it was so long ago, but the problem I thought was my mechanics, because we went back and watched videos, and all of the athletic training staff and Payton and I, we did a bunch of work on what we thought was the root cause of it, or what my lowest hanging fruit was. But it wasn't until then that it kind of internalized for me, like what it took, not only on the developmental side, but the mental side too, because I was in a very dark place. I was thinking my elbow was toast. I got the MRI. It was only like a grade 1, maybe in between a grade 2 sprain. There were some little tears in there or whatever. Ended up being able to rehab back from it. But I was never really fully confident in my elbow, just knowing that there was tears in there. So through just fine the next year at Cypress, I think I got 30 something innings, maybe 29 that year that I hurt my elbow that first year. And I think I took 8 weeks that year, came back, slid into a starting role because the starter that was starting tore his elbow. So I got to go on to a starting recovery role, which is nice, having that week rest in between every outing. They understood that, which was good. Went on to throw the 30 innings, like I said, train with Payton again through the summer, go back for my second fall. I think I'm going in as a starter then. I think they understood that my arm could handle the higher pitch load 1 day a week. I think that entire spring I was healthy. There was no problems, but my performance kind of teetered at the end. I think that had to do with my competitiveness, like my just overall approach on the competitive side of pitching. I don't think it had to do with loss of velocity or loss of whatever fatigue or gaining fatigue, whatever, throughout the season. I think I just sucked, whatever it was. Anyway, I had actually signed to New Mexico State the fall before my second year at Cypress because my elbow hurt my first year. I didn't want to go through my second year again, get hurt, and not have anywhere to go. Because after 2 years of JUCO, you're basically done. You could maybe go play NAIA somewhere. I didn't have the option to go play at Hope like I probably do now because of Payton. Anyway, I was really nervous. It wasn't the first offer technically because I talked to LMU a little bit, but I thought New Mexico State would have been a good home for me because I had a buddy who I grew up with playing there already. They ended up having a really rough season that year. I think they won 16 games while I was still at Cypress. I was a little nervous. I can't lie, going that summer going into New Mexico State. They ended up switching the coaching staff, started new. I got really lucky that the new incoming head coach honored my scholarship. They saw whatever they had for me, and they're like, yeah, we'll keep it for you. Ended up having a great relationship with that coach, Jake Angier. He's an awesome guy. I have a ton of respect for him. I actually wouldn't be going back there for my 5th year if it weren't for him. I've had a couple other injuries in between then, but through it all, I mean, the elbow injury at Cypress, I rehabbed with the Cypress team, the Cypress athletic training. They actually brought in Dr. Fumi. He has his own place in Seal Beach, California called, I think it's Global Doctor of Physical Therapy, maybe. They do a bunch of stuff there. Anyway, he worked on the Tokyo Olympics. He was on the athletic training staff for Tokyo Olympics. So I trusted him. He helped me get my elbow back into a place where I could throw the ball, whether my brain believed it or not. He's the one who kind of helped me return to play. And through all that, I was going home from rehab at the school to the yard, straight to the yard to do my lift or whatever it was, do the Phoenix machine to make sure the muscles were recovering properly, and doing dock work, trying to get my elbow back into a spot. I think my first year at NMSU was the shoulder impingement because I got put into a relief role. Wasn't exactly ready for the Friday through Sunday hot list thing, because throwing on Friday, throw a couple innings, yeah, it's not that big a deal. But coming back, either taking a day off Saturday, which I wasn't a huge fan of because then it felt like I was dusting the cobwebs off on Sunday with fatigue on top of it. So I would throw Friday, throw maybe in game, throw Saturday to keep the shoulder loose, and then be ready to throw in the game on Sunday again. That's when my shoulder flared up. Took a week off from that, maybe two, 1 week from no throwing, another week to get back on it, and then slid back into a starting role there just because he knew I needed the recovery. My shoulder would flare up by the end of every outing. So he would just be like, all right, don't pick up a ball for 2 days. You'll be ready by next Saturday or whatever. And then got through that season with 33 innings, I believe. So it was 30, 54 my second year at Cypress, and then 33 again my first year at NMSU. Next year, flash forward to my last year, which was my senior year at NMSU. That's when,
quote unquote, senior year.
Right. That's what I thought. My last year went through the fall in a starting role basically the whole time, especially because one of our other guys who we thought might be a starter spent the summer in the Cape. So he was shut down from throwing through the fall. So I spent from August to, or I'm sorry, we probably do individuals from August to maybe the end of September. Yeah, because we're there the middle of August, go through September individuals, and then we're doing inter squads like basically right as we start. We actually did this. We played the Naranjeros. They're from Mexico. We played them September 1st or something, I think. And from then on, it's inter squads through the whole fall, and then come back maybe a couple weeks of throwing bullpens with Angier, and then it's back to inter squads. And that's when my elbow started hurting again. I was like, oh crap. Because it was the same feeling at not only flexion, right? Or no, extension, and I was feeling it at flexion, which was really nerve-wracking for me because at Cypress, when I sprained it, I was only feeling it here, which was bad enough as it was. Felt like there was a knife in my elbow. I felt it here as well. So I reached out to Payton, and he's like, man, you probably should get on the FlexPro Grip at this point. I had dabbled with it, I believe, before then, maybe that December leading into my last spring this year. Anyway, now you've got a customer for life. But that was when I started the FlexPro Grip. Thankfully, I had a teammate, Hayden Lewis, who actually had his internal brace surgery. He had the FlexPro Grip there with him. So not only did I go back to school from having the FlexPro Grip here in California at Payton's place, went back to school and had it again at school because of this kid that's rehabbing. So I had it. I was like, there's no way that I can't do this. My elbow's hurting now. I have it in front of me. There's no reason I shouldn't be doing this. I think my velo dropped back down to probably 83, 85 when it was closer to 87, 89 at this point, touching 90 sometimes. I don't want to be that guy, but velo dropped, started getting barreled once season rolled around. I was in the Saturday roll, lost it after, I think, 3 weeks. I think I pitched against, I can't remember if it was St. Thomas, then Western Illinois, and then we played another non-conference team before A&M.
Oakland, right?
Oakland, you're right. I don't know how you know that and I don't, but yes, you're right. Those three
Trying
teams,
to visualize the schedule in my head.
Yeah, I can see it now too, those Golden Bears. Anyway, get to Texas A&M. I am not in a starting role anymore. I think he took the ball away from me. It had to be that third weekend because he knew my elbow was hurting. He was watching me throw bullpens at 79 miles an hour because I didn't want to throw it hard. He knew I wasn't throwing it hard. I told him before the bullpen, I'm like, hey, coach, I'm just going to take this easy. I didn't think it was going to come out at 79, but it did. And he's like, man, I have no confidence in you. It doesn't look like you have any confidence in yourself. I can't trust you on the mound right now. Like it's not going your way. And I was like, man, as much as that's like the worst thing to hear as a pitcher, you're right. Like there's no denying it. And I told him, I was like, I've been doing the FlexPro Grip ever since the inter squads before the season. I think it's finally starting to catch. Like the protocols are finally starting to make a difference, and I'm feeling it. And I think Texas A&M, that fourth week, I hit 88 again, maybe 87, 88. So the confidence was back, but I got absolutely barreled. Yeah, that one was actually the worst one of the season. One of those ones you'll never forget your entire life. But it kind of knocked my head on back straight because I came in, I think it was the second inning. Our starter was struggling too. I came in to get the third out. It was the 3-hole hitter, struck him out. Literally felt like I was on top of the world. I could see my family up in the stands walking back to the dugout. I was super excited. Go back out for the third inning and gave up 8 runs. So whether it was karma or what, it came for me and it got me. Got lit up that Saturday and Sunday morning by Angier while we were stretching. Both mornings in a row. He was like, "Wow, I need to talk to you." And I just knew, like, blah, blah, like he was going to tell me, why didn't you throw it down in the zone? Blah, blah, this. I was like, man, coach, like it wasn't my goal to hang a change up with bases loaded. Like I promise you, I didn't mean to do that. I think the words that really kind of woke me up were, what does it matter what I think? Aren't you just tired of getting hit? And I'm like, yeah, I think you're right. And I think the next week, so I probably threw no more than 30 pitches that Friday night. So I wasn't like completely burnt for the travel trip. I think we went Texas A&M had that Monday to rest and travel. And then we played Lamar University in Beaumont, Texas that Tuesday, Wednesday. I didn't start till the Wednesday game, but I ended up throwing, I think 5 innings, going out for my 6th, was already at my pitch count. I think I walked the first batter in the 6th inning, so I didn't finish it, but gave up 1 stupid run that outing on a ball to the warning track that dropped, like a big pop fly dropped, and then a shift beating ground ball through the 5-6 hole, the size of the Mount Everest, whatever. Anyway, that outing completely like restored confidence in my mind, not only in my elbow, because I threw probably 70 pitches on 4 days rest and had no pain in my elbow, which was like completely different for me. The previous weeks, it was maybe I had an inning of feeling good in me, and then it was just boom, blown up in my elbow. Everything felt like crap. Releasing the fastball felt like I was going to pull my elbow off the socket. But coming back that week at Lamar was completely game changing. Just changed my plan of attack, kind of said F you to, not F you to Angier, but like everything that I had thought we were learning, I just said, screw it, go out the window. I'm going to put the ball below your knees, try to hit it. And it wasn't F you. I shouldn't have said that because I love Angier, but it was more of like I don't care what the plan is. I'm just going to throw the ball in the zone and then miss in the zone, like miss in between the lines with my off speed. That's all it was. And I started seeing a bunch of success with swings and misses, weak contact, getting ahead in leverage counts just by attacking the zone early and then working to the thirds late. Like the whole thing changed. And I can thank FlexPro Grip. Probably 90% of that is just because of the health of my elbow came back. I lost confidence in myself at the beginning of that season because my elbow hurt so bad. I knew like before the pitch was happening, I was like, dang, here we go. Like this is going to hurt. Home run. Like it just is, it's inevitable almost when you don't have confidence in yourself that you're going to give up nukes. And once the health was back, the confidence was back. And I just have FlexPro Grip to thank for that. So
appreciate that.
That's about all I have, man. That takes me to now, I guess.
Yeah. Well, before we get to right now, can I now hop back in and ask you, like, 26 clarifying questions and little
Absolutely, you
rabbit
can.
holes?
Let's do it.
Sweet. What was your velocity at then in the fall of your freshman year at Cypress, coming off of driveline? So you finish your senior year, you're 84 to 87. So you're
Mhm.
starting to show some flashes of promise. I'm sure
Right.
I don't know if you even finished growing at that point, but
Yeah. I was
so
probably around 6'5" then. So yeah,
okay, so
I
you're
was on the
still
way.
growing your
Yeah.
freshman year of college where you have this
Hmm.
massive uptick in your amount of training, your amount of
Hmm.
running, your amount of throwing. So
Hmm.
probably not a great recipe for success when all these
Right.
things are changing at once. No wonder you had
Yeah.
the patellar tendon issues. How hard were you throwing that fall?
So I would say I was probably sitting. Now my floor was closer to 88. Anything above that was more like an advantage count pitch. Like my get me over was closer to upper 80s. Like if I needed to throw a strike, it was 88 to 89. Like I was throwing pretty hard back then, but my command was nowhere near what it is
Right.
now. I attribute all of my success at this level that I'm at now because I can mix three pitches with strikes. Like I don't
Yeah.
throw super hard. I don't have lights out fastball stuff. Never really have, but I can throw three pitches for strikes in whatever count and I can land it where I need to. But to answer your question, yeah, I was like 88, 90, I would say. Final answer.
Massive gain from just a
Mm-hmm.
couple years prior when you really started throwing hard for the first time and training hard for the first time. So
Right.
we're looking at like an 8 to 10 mile per hour increase on top of a massive velo increase. Workload also went crazy on you because you're training harder than you've ever trained, you're
Mm-hmm.
throwing more than you've ever thrown,
Right.
and you're expected to pitch in a larger role. You lose Josh Landry, who's a national champion pitcher at
Mm-hmm.
Hope International. So you're expected to fill that guy's role at Cypress. I mean, crazy, right? Yeah, that's insane. With that, you're not only just throwing more, but you're throwing more in high leverage situations. Then you flash forward, you talk about your experience then at New Mexico State when the shoulder started barking for the first time. It
Mm-hmm.
sounds like, given all these variables that you were dealing with, acute to chronic workload may have been a little bit of an issue, or how to manage
Right.
training,
Mm-hmm.
throwing, gains, performance, just all in one. It sounds like that education process maybe was lagging a little bit. Of course, you can look at it with 2020 hindsight. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
what you needed to understand when you're going from a 6', 6'2" athlete, 2 years later, you're 6'7" with an additional
Exactly.
10 miles per hour
Yeah.
and significantly higher expectations on top of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, for sure.
So
So yeah.
when we assess that, like, of course, again, 2020 hindsight, is there something maybe you wish you could have done differently, or is that even possible, do you think, to have done anything differently with the way you tried to manage your throwing or manage your workouts?
If I look back at my time at Cypress, the part that kind of sucked about Cypress not only was the running, made your entire body sore because we ran 6 days a week. So that added to the fatigue of your entire body. But he wasn't exactly a huge fan of arm care in general, our pitching coach. I don't know if he didn't believe in it or didn't know much about it. I don't want to dig into that too much because we actually had a pretty brutal exit meeting one year where we were this close to actually fighting in the parking lot just because I was so ready to stand on business about it. Like I told him, I was like, if I'm going to come back here this next year, I'm going to have to be able to take care of my arm. Like there's just no way around it. I was already bought into the cross symmetry bands, the crossover symmetry, because that's we started that at Payton's a while back. When we would play catch and then go straight into team defense, which is okay. We were warmed up for it. But the crappy part was once we did team defense, it was straight to BP for an hour and a half, which was not exactly optimal. If I was going to go warm up, throw team defense, and then an hour and a half later, I have a bullpen because it's my
Mhm.
slot at the end of batting practice. And then after that, practice is over and everybody's going home, cleaning up the field. Everybody has their field jobs. There was never really a slotted time to take care of your arm. And so if I could go back and do something different, I think I would prioritize finding time to take care of my arm better, because I kind of let them walk all over me in that aspect. I was really bought into being a teammate at that point because I wanted to earn my spot. I wanted to earn my respect as a younger guy on the team. So I wasn't going to be like, "F you, I'm not going to do my field job." Like, that's stupid. I think I was actually on mound duty that year, which means I had to clay and rake and tamp and do all that, which honestly, I don't mind a ton. I like doing the mound, but still no time for arm care. And then not only that, but I would do what I thought was BS lift that day. And then I'd go lift again after practice, the real lift that I thought was going to benefit me as a pitcher and an athlete, with Payton in the dock at the yard. So not only was I lifting twice a day, but I was throwing on a crappy schedule. So I guess it would just be managing my load better. Maybe I could have done arm care at the yard. I don't know if doing arm care that long after, it was probably 2-3 hours after that, I would make it to the yard after I throw. So looking back, it would just be doing arm care more often, because I think I skipped out on it too much.
Yeah, so you put yourself in a gutter trying to make sure you accomplished what you felt like you needed to accomplish,
Mm-hmm.
on top of doing everything that you were told to do.
Yep.
Just created this massive workload spike for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, that gets really hard when you're trying to be the best teammate possible, as well as do everything you think you need to do to be the
Mm-hmm.
best player you can be.
Yeah.
And that eventually creates a recipe for disaster. It works in the short term. If you work really hard, generally you are going to see benefits from it.
Right.
But the problem is sustaining that level of work leads to
Mm-hmm.
breakdowns, which is
Right.
obviously what you experienced. There
Yeah.
is one piece of advice I would like to throw in there. I know
Please.
this really isn't a podcast or a platform where I try to be the guy constantly providing insights or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
this is something I feel really strongly about. You can take it however you want to take it, and anybody out there can take it however they want to take it. But I am a massive proponent that one of the most selfless things that you can do as a baseball player is be selfish.
Right.
And what I mean by that, because I understand it sounds bad, but what I mean by that is by taking care of yourself, you are putting yourself in the best position to help your teammates.
Exactly. And that's,
It,
yeah. I totally agree with you.
it doesn't mean be an asshole. It
Uh-huh.
means do everything in your power to be as good as you can possibly be. And
Right.
if you do that, you are going to be ready when your name is called. You are
Mm-hmm.
going to be your best when it's time to be your best. You are
Absolutely.
going to be able to support everybody around you because
Mm-hmm.
you took care of yourself.
Absolutely.
I
And
just
yeah.
think that that gets missed all the time because
And I also, sorry to cut you off, but I want to
no,
just
you're
get
good.
this in there just for the guys out there that are listening, if they are listening, that it gets lost in translation so much. Like, what he's saying is so accurate. The more you take care of yourself, the more you try to better yourself, the more you can help your team. But you're right, you don't want to be an asshole while doing it. The part that gets lost in translation is exactly that. Like, people start to individualize themselves. They start to wonder, why am I not getting innings or this, that? And it's more like, did I do enough to be the one called for that situation? Or is it, this guy's a lefty or this guy's a big righty, so he's got a better matchup than me, or things like that, where you can buy into the program while still bettering yourself. And not only that, sometimes I've seen it personally, people will start doing it with you. Like, you're not the only one showing up to the field by yourself anymore, because people see you doing the water bags, people see you doing the FlexPro Grip. They're like, what's this? Can you teach me that? Connor, I have a problem with this. Do you know anything that could help me with that? And it's just like the best feeling ever when somebody comes to me and wants to better themselves so that they are ready to be better for the team. It's absolute choir, like you're just preaching right there.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I do wish that was celebrated a little bit more, and I actually
Mm-hmm.
think the people that struggle with that the most are generally the people that are trying to be good teammates
Mm-hmm.
because they are the ones that do exactly what you did, which is grind like crazy, doing every
Yeah.
single thing coach says. And then
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to piss anyone off, you do the work that you think you need to do in the
Exactly.
background. And then that way you're just digging yourself a hole. Although, again, it works in the short term, you're eventually setting yourself up for failure and then
Hmm.
wondering why you're not getting opportunities or why you're the one that's hurt. Versus
Yeah.
if you are upfront about this is what I need to do to
Hmm.
be the best I can be, it might create one hard conversation or two hard conversations, but
Right.
that's short lived. And then
Yeah.
people are like, oh, well, that's what he does. It's part of his routine. This is a
Hmm.
set schedule. He understands how it fits with our program. Awesome. Like you
Right.
can see the best in baseball do that.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
it's way more common to see the guys that just fall in line are
Yeah.
generally the ones that are never separating themselves.
And like you said, those tough conversations, you got to have them, because I remember after that bullpen, like I mentioned earlier, Angier sat me down and was like, I can't give you the ball back. I was completely devastated, you know. I could have put my tail between my legs and wrapped up the rest of the season and called it quits. I lost my starting spot at that point. I could have called it quits. Ended up silently working my way back into the starting role. Like I didn't complain about it. I was actually super excited that one of the freshmen actually took my spot. I was his biggest cheerleader the whole time, because I knew deep down in my heart that I wasn't prepared for that level of competition just because of the spot my elbow was in. So I was super happy that Matt Yark, I'll say his name just because he's going to be my roommate next year. I love the kid. He took my spot. It was great for him. He got a ton of experience. He's going to need it for this year. But I could have completely shut down and been a jerk to all my teammates, and instead I kind of just understood that I need to get my elbow back to a place where I can help the team no matter what role it is. If it's going to be one inning at the end of the games because he can still trust me to throw strikes, that's what it's going to be, because that's how I'm going to help my team this year. If that's all I was able to do, like say I didn't come back healthy like I did because of the FlexPro Grip, and I could only pitch in a closing role, which probably would have ate at me. I'm not a closer. I like to throw 6, 7 innings, as many as I can. If that's the only way I can help my team and I have to watch the freshmen start over me, I deserve it. Like that's just the way I see it. I don't see it as a dang coach hates me and wants to give the ball to the freshman. No, it's because I don't deserve it and I'm not ready for it. And once I am, I'll show it to them. Simple.
Yeah. Great tangent there. Love that we went down that road. So I'm going
Yeah.
to go back to the quick hitters now. You
Hmm.
talked about rehabbing with the Cypress staff as well as doing some work with Payton that
Hmm.
freshman year when you ultimately had the UCL sprain. You said you were on the shelf for about 8 weeks, 4 weeks
Right.
off, and then 4 weeks in a return to throw. What ultimately was the decision to go about your recovery non-operatively? Because a lot of people hear UCL sprain and they
Hmm.
think that's it, I'm done. Like
Right.
we talked about it offline. A
Hmm.
sprain is a tear. And that's
Right.
important for people to know. Just because you hear sprain, some people they're like, oh, great, I'm fine.
Yeah.
A sprain is still a tear. So it's not like you
Absolutely.
had some like little boo boo. You still had a
Right. Right.
serious injury that you needed to
Yeah.
fight through. What was the decision? How did you guys go about that communication wise? And ultimately, what did rehab look like to help you get back on the field?
Okay, so to start, got my MRI. There was no full tear, which is what they were looking for. Even if it was an implication of like a 50% tear, that's what they were looking for. They only found the micro tears from a grade 1 sprain, like you said. There were still tears in there, but nothing to operate on. And it was still so hard to wrap my head around that being the truth, because when I threw the ball in that last bullpen, it just felt like my elbow was exploding every time. It felt
Mm-hmm.
like something had to be so wrong in there, but it wasn't. It was super cool. The Cypress athletic training staff actually, I think they do it every once in a while. They'll all get together and study a topic, actually, and they used my elbow case as a topic as to why I should not get Tommy John surgery. I was in such a dark place. I think I said that offline. I thought that the only way I was going to be able to ever return to throw is by getting a new elbow. They actually had to coach me out of that mindset, as well as coach my physical strength, because that's probably what prompted them to do that entire research project. They looked into return to play time. They looked into longevity post op time, all of these different factors that play into why you shouldn't get Tommy John. And ultimately, they brought in Dr. Fumi, like I said, from Seal Beach. I just full on trusted him because of his credentials. Ended up working out in my favor. He thought that the biggest problem was my shoulder instability, and that's what created the problems in my elbow, which, I mean, it's true. Like, if you have a weak shoulder, you're going to have a weak elbow. It makes sense. So majority of the training that we did together was shoulder strengthening, especially for that first 4 weeks where I wasn't throwing the ball and kind of trying to get the inflammation down in my elbow and all that. We were doing a lot of shoulder training. It wasn't like Armored Heat or anything. It was very physical therapy type stuff. Fumi is an athletic trainer, so he knew what he was doing. I'm not sure exactly how well versed he is in the baseball pitching world exactly, but his shoulder rehab was good in my opinion, as far as I understood. Like, all these little muscles that I never felt before were getting turned on and getting their work in. And I think after that, at Driveline, they have this little sleeve that you can wear called it's called Pulse Throw now. When I returned to throw, we were very heavy on the angle at which I released the ball. We thought that I was too far out here at extension when I was throwing the ball, so I was putting too much pressure on the inside of my elbow. We were working on getting it closer to like a 45-degree angle with that thing. Ended up helping. I'm not sure. I don't think I throw from that slot anymore, but I think I just needed to get my elbow healthy to throw again before I started ripping the baseball. But I would also go to the yard and do Phoenix. I'm not sure how many people are going to know what that thing is. It's like a little stem unit.
Is that the ARP wave?
It's like its little brother. I think the ARP
Okay.
wave is the Phoenix on steroids somehow, that there's a better version of it. Anyway, back in the day, that was the best thing we had, and I thought it was amazing. It does microcurrents that you can't even feel. It does NMES. It does all of these protocols that I was doing, and Payton was helping me. Doc was giving me workouts to do on them while I was doing the Phoenix. So that thing is crazy. Like, it gets up to like 500 contractions per second or something. So when you do one rep that takes 2 seconds, your muscles contracted 1,000 times. Like, it's nuts to think of the work that thing can put in for you in such little time. So I think that's part of the reason why I came back healthy with no operation. Yeah, it was majority Cypress that decided that I wasn't going to get surgery. So.
And as you said, looking back on it, you're glad that they kind of pushed you, presented all that
Absolutely.
research.
Yeah,
And
totally. Because I don't know how. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
what I was getting at adding on here was you were in such a dark place that you kind of felt like the only way out was operation. Like
Right.
you didn't trust yourself or trust your body or
Mhm.
trust the people around you necessarily at the time
Yeah.
that
It was
you were
also
going to come
foreign.
out better.
Yeah. I mean, it was also foreign to me. I'd never felt anything like it. So I kind of just basically hit the panic button. Like, I just didn't know that people came back from things like, I obviously understand that people get Tommy John rehab from it, but that's what I thought people did. I thought people got Tommy John and then that's how they came back to pitching. But the rehab staff or the athletic training staff was just so hell bent on making sure that I stayed away from it because, one, I think it red flags you for the draft. Like, they know obviously they're going to come do a physical, and then all of the research about how much time you have after, and then the likelihood of it popping again after full reconstruction. Well, it was all just like, I may as well see if I can get back to throwing and then prolong the operation. Like, if I could come back, finish this year even, and then have it maybe, I don't know. I was just wanting to throw again at that point. And all of these people were telling me, hey, you don't need the operation. Let's do some rehab and you can probably pitch again. All right, let's try it, I guess. That's basically where I was at.
So that gets us through your freshman year. You commented on kind of how nervous you were still with the whole situation the
Mm-hmm.
fall of your sophomore year, which
Yeah.
led to a commitment, which is obviously played out nicely with New Mexico
Yeah.
State. But
Mm-hmm.
as you said, you were just like, I just need to get this out of the way. I need to get to
Yeah.
a situation where all my ducks are in a row. So
Mm-hmm.
you commit, you end up throwing a large chunk of innings your sophomore year. As you said, it
Yeah.
might not have been the best statistically, but
Mm-hmm.
you got through it. And coming off
Yeah.
of injury,
Mm-hmm.
completing a season is just a massive, like a massive feather in the cap. Like that means more than
Absolutely.
anything when
Hmm.
your first year back from an injury, just like,
Yeah.
I can do this. It doesn't
Yep.
even matter what the stats are at that point. Just, I
Right.
can do this. I'm going to
Hmm.
be good.
Restored confidence for sure.
I'm just like covering the summary real quick here. You talk about the shoulder issue, then your first year at New Mexico State,
Mhm.
workload spike again. You went
Yep.
from throwing high intent 1 to 2 times a week to then having to be ready to throw high intent literally any day in a given week. So if
Yep.
you're not used to that, it can really mess with you. Dealt
Hmm.
with the velo ups and downs. You get through this past year, a little bit of discomfort, but we figure it out. You're
Hmm.
at a point where you feel you have a system that works now. So
Oh, absolutely.
now let's talk about that. What is the system now that you've taken more ownership of your career? I'd love if you could just like go into the details. What does
Hmm.
daily life or weekly life look like for you to be
Hmm.
ready to go every time your name is called?
Okay. Definitely, I have been very impartial to the pitching doctor stuff over the years. I've been a huge fan of the way that it's not very, I call it neutral spine training. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of it. Like that's like straight squats, deadlift, like bench press, like that's all great. And I've been actually doing some of that this summer to put some muscle on, but I'm a huge fan of moving around, like bending, doing all this stuff. And jumping, moving plyometrically, isometrically, like all this stuff. That's what he incorporates into his stuff. And the biggest part that contributes to my readiness is the lifts that I do throughout the week beforehand. And then my throwing is very day to day, and preparing for throwing is a very day to day thing, especially during the off season. But do you want me to talk about the season or the off season?
Both is totally fine. Just
Okay, well, we'll start with in season then, I guess. So this year after a start, I would throw my innings, however many it was, and then it was automatically the next day is football toss, only football toss, maybe 30 yards, 40 throws, and then always like a massage flush from the fingertips all the way down to my shoulder. And then going up to the next outing is all field. Like I said, the first day back is maybe 120, 150 feet. I'm a huge long toss fan, very big on getting the ball out very far at a very low velocity, but like high arc. I don't know if you've ever watched the Alan Yeager video with
yeah.
Trevor Bauer in it from all of those years ago. But I think that kind of helped control the workload week to week on my arm just by, okay, this is how far my arm can throw it today. I'm not going to go any further. I'm just going to get a nice arc on the ball. My arm's going to get nice and loose. And then maybe the next day, when my arm's feeling a little less sore from the outing, on the way in from that catch play, I'll pull down and get my high intent throws in, get the ball moving a little quicker. As for lifting throughout the week, when I'm with New Mexico State, I do their lifts through the week, except on the day before my start. That's when I'll do my dock lift. I still have it in my phone from back when I was training at the yard every day. It's literally just a pre-throw lift, activation, jumping, doing some squat march lunges, doing some isometrics for your chest, doing some isometrics for your tricep, all these things that activate your arm but not make it sore. Or maybe that's what I've found is doing things that keep my body moving but don't make me fatigue the next day. And I guess maybe it's not the doc stuff for everybody, but for me it is. I don't know what it is about his stuff, but it just prepares me the best for when I throw the ball. But as for the summer stuff, like off-season workouts to prepare for throwing, I like doing ground throws is a big doc thing. I've been very big on that this year. We've been working on getting my arm above my shoulder before I throw the ball. I think that's going to help me not only with velocity, but health as well in my arm, because I was throwing from down here a little lower than my shoulder slot, which kind of forces my elbow up. Got to work around the chromial line is what it's called instead of working over it. And that's all stuff that Payton and I talk about. He's watching me throw the ball damn near every time. He's dialing it in while I'm throwing it. I can feel it, and that's the good thing about how much time I've spent how much experience that I've got working with him over the years is it's not so much of a Payton's teaching me now. He's more so being my eyes. Like I can't see what I look like. I can only feel what it looks like. So he's like, okay, your arm didn't get high enough. Okay, well, I felt where it got. So that means it needs to get higher. Let me get it higher than it was.
He's your caddy at this point.
Basically. Like, he's the best at it though. And that's why I'm still with him. God only knows how much more information the doc could tell me. I've never exactly worked with the doc in person, but Payton and the doc work together in Stride, and those guys are unstoppable together. Like they're so smart.
Want to add a few other things into the fold. You mentioned your use of FlexPro Grip. You've mentioned your use of Armored Heat. When are you doing those things in your weekly schedule?
So the FlexPro Grip has always been kind of a post-throw thing for me. I've always done nerve flossing to warm up for my elbow. That's ever since my first injury at Cypress. That's kind of what Dr. Fumi introduced me to, I think. Actually, you know what? I take it back. I think that's another doc thing, is nerve flossing, or maybe that's something that he introduced us to. But I have 3 exercises that I do for 10. It's like this one, and then straight out, and then straight back. And then I do some ground throws, and then go through my throwing, Armored Heat, FlexPro Grip. If I need to, on top of the Armored Heat, if my shoulder is ever more sore, I do some doc stuff again. Like it's not plyometrics or isometrics, but more so like time under tension, where we're holding weights and letting them fall slowly. We're trying to hold them in place, but we're holding them for so long that they're dropping on their own.
So long eccentric holds.
Yeah, basically, yeah, that's what you could call them. That's probably what it is.
Technically, all isometrics are an eccentric, which is always a funny concept, because if you think about it, nothing is, at least muscularly, ever actually staying in one place. Yes, you don't see a movement, but if you think of what's happening with the muscle tendon unit, as the muscle continues to contract, the tendon continues to lengthen. So if you think about like a bench press, if we just held the bench in front of us, what is happening while we're holding it is that muscle is continuing to contract because the load, thinking about gravity, thinking about time, although the load isn't technically changing, gravity isn't increasing its force, that muscle is continuing to contract, which then means the tendon is lengthening. So although the distance being covered isn't changing, the actual like contraction of the muscle is forcing it to become an eccentric at that point. That's why the power of isometrics are incredible, because you can expose the body to such high levels of force without the crazy loads of like rep after rep, or there's less, I guess, stress associated with extremely high outputs.
Totally. No, yeah. And maybe that's why the doc is so impartial to them or whatever, because we do a lot. He has a workout called the 3-minute ninja, or the 30-minute ninja, or 3 minutes of hell. There's a couple of them. And we just do all of these different exercises and see if we can hold them for 3 minutes. And you would be surprised how freaking difficult it is. Like going from a 3-minute wall sit to a 3-minute reverse lunge. Like see how athletic you are at that point. Like it is not
insane
fun.
Stuff.
It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure.
No.
And at that point, understanding that is what gets you to be a next level athlete, in my opinion. Like once you understand, hey, it takes what it takes. At a certain point, you got to do the stuff that's going to make you better.
So now, talking about this 180 kind of with your mindset, with how crappy of a place you were in coming off of your elbow injury. Now you mention like how hard your training is and some of the things that you're exposing yourself to. Do you think part of what enables you to be successful now is just knowing the work that you've put in and what you've had to endure?
No, absolutely. So like going through those things, it definitely teaches you stuff, not only about who you are, but your body as well. You go through the injury, and obviously you got to still throw, but you did something wrong. So you got to go find what happened and fix it. So at Cypress, it was a workload issue. Figured that out for the next year, got that under control. I was healthy. Got to New Mexico State, up the workload again, got injured. Next year happens, figured it out. I was throwing hard, but I probably had some mechanical issues that led to my elbow getting hurt. But it wasn't so bad that I couldn't dig myself out of that hole, you know? And that's the thing is once I know I'm going down a hole, I know I need to get myself out versus I'll be fine, it'll adapt. Like I would rather be proactive about it at this point. And I think that's what I've learned about baseball is I don't want to say that rest isn't the answer, but in my opinion, I always think movement is therapy. Like movement is what's going to get me back to moving at a high intent or moving the way I need to be. Like if I can't move this way, what makes me think I can pitch? Like that's the kind of mindset that I have now. And it's the same way with my training. Like when I do the dock stuff and I Zercher 335 pounds in the nooks of my elbows right here, yeah, it hurts like crazy. But if I can't expect my arms and my shoulders to be able to hold that load and my core to be able to stabilize my body in that squat, what am I thinking that I'm gonna be able to stabilize my body in the pitching movement? Like it all kind of coincides with each other. Like this idea that my training has to be harder than pitching, so pitching is easy.
Commenting specifically on your movement is medicine concept, that scientifically holds up. You're 100% correct. That isn't just a feeling. And you saying that rest doesn't solve the problem. Like, yeah, specifically is going to make you feel better, but rest doesn't solve anything. Inflammation will go away. So yeah, I guess in theory, it is solving that problem. But if you don't actually address the soft tissue that is impacted, you will never actually solve the problem. You will feel better, but it is going to come right back. That is why everybody who has tendinitis will pretty much have tendinitis for the rest of their life unless they actually figure out how to load that muscle tendon unit properly to solve the problem. Like that's why movement matters so much. Yes, it's going to be hard for a little bit. Yes, you might work through a little bit of discomfort or pain, but if you recognize what that correct threshold is and expose yourself to it, over time you're building your tolerance as well as improving the actual structure, and you are going to be on the road to success. It might not feel as good as just sitting on the couch.
Totally.
But it solves the problem.
No, yeah. And that's why I think FlexPro Grip worked so well for me. Because I not only was it like a mental thing for me, but feeling those muscles that were the ones that were hurting. Like I would do it and I'd be like, dang, like that's where my problem is coming from right now. Doing those workouts and feeling that muscle like being worked was so much more rewarding in my head than rolling it out or getting a massage or doing stem, like just slapping stem pads on it and expecting it to get better. Like that's what they wanted me to do. I was like, and the same thing for my shoulder, because it was kind of more of just like an inflammation issue. We don't exactly know if it was bicep tendon or if it was chest or if it was pec or whatever it is.
There's a lot of stuff that goes into that shoulder.
So many parts that go right in this front. It was right here. That's where the pain was hurting. And I was like, I don't want to sit around and hope it gets better. I want to force it to get better. Like that's my mindset on it is movement will make it better, not sitting around. And that's kind of been my MO ever since my first injury at Cypress. Having the knowledge that I've gained from working with Payton and the doc, and now especially you, learning about like even on my first Zoom call with you back in, what was it, February or whatever it was, early or late January going into season, like just hearing about all the scientific research backed into the FlexPro Grip and all the stuff that you know about it, it was like bingo, like that's another thing that I need under my belt, like to have like a full repertoire to be healthy all the time. And now I've got Armored Heat for my shoulder, and they do a little bit of elbow stuff, but now I've got FlexPro Grip. Like now I'm dialed in. It's a completely different story than 4 years ago now. at Cypress when I was just kind of, winging it and hoping for the best. Basically just trying to throw hard whenever I got the chance, working as hard as I could whenever I could just to earn a spot. Ended up not going the right way. And now understanding workloads and understanding that your body needs to recover, like all these things, they all go into it. And it has led to where I am now.
All right. So we've talked so much about the past. Now
Mm-hmm.
let's look into the future. So you're
Yep.
going into this final fifth year of college ball. You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned quickly that you've just been grinding your butt off this summer. You had a big throwing workload again, but thankfully we managed it
Yep.
this time around. So you've been doing some more traditional strength training. I know
Mm-hmm.
you've been gaining some weight.
Yep.
What are your goals for this upcoming season? What in your mind is a success in this final year of college ball?
So funnily enough, I started losing weight around when I called you about FlexPro Grip the first time. I was probably 225 going into season, and then ended up around 215, 217 maybe. So I lost a good 10 pounds during season. And I don't know if that contributed to my injury or not, but I want to go into next season with a higher baseline. So that's kind of what's contributed to my ideology for the summer is let's get as strong as possible and set the greatest foundation for myself all the way through December. Like this isn't just a summer thing. Like I'm going to tell my coach that I want to continue this through fall. Like he understands. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I threw the most innings on the squad last year. He's not expecting me to throw a bunch of innings in the fall for inter squads. He knows what he's getting back. Like he knows I can throw strikes. My main goal, and he knows this, gain velocity. Like I genuinely, I feel like that's the only thing besides getting my ERA down the first 4 games of the season. I think that's what gets me to the next level outside of college baseball. So eating a lot is where I'm at right now. I eat 2 breakfasts, midday lunch after my workout. So like 3 o'clock I'll eat, and then I'll eat dinner. So I eat 4 meals a day and then a shake before bed. So I'm getting close to 4,500 calories a day. I think since I've been home, I went from the 217 that I said to about, I woke up this morning at about 234.4. And on my little smart scale app, I've gained about 10 pounds of muscle and about 7 pounds of fat. But if I can keep going in that direction through all of fall, I think I'll have a better baseline to be healthy through the spring, just like the entire way. Because I was healthy by the end because I found FlexPro Grip. But now if I start that way, I think I can just go like this through the whole season and be healthy the whole time. Maintain body weight will be easier. Or maybe even if I go in there with a little bit of cushion, like expecting to lose weight, who knows? Like that might not be the end of the world, but I don't want to get fat. I'm not fat right now. I will tell the listeners I'm 14% body fat right now. If I get over 16, I'll stop eating 4,500 calories. How about that?
Yeah, so this podcast is here to hold you accountable. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you have your sights set on anything performance wise, or is it just go out there and see what happens?
Well, performance wise, I do obviously want to be back in the weekend rotation. Friday night would be awesome. Saturday night would be even better. Sunday night would be stupid. I don't want to be a Sunday starter. That means I'm the worst one. So Friday best, Saturday okay. But my main goal this year is not only maintaining my health, but just maintaining like the competitive edge that I found at the end of the year. Like I talked about the FU mentality to all of this stuff, like all of these data, all the data on first pitch strikes and 0-2 this, 0-2 that. Like I just went up there and let it all hang out and threw the ball in the zone and made sure it was low in the zone, not up, because that's when I get banged. Made sure I was throwing low in the zone. So if I can repeat that and just stick with the edge that nobody's going to touch my stuff, then I think next year I can have a way better year.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I think that concludes my official line of questioning. We've been going at this a while. I think you
Yeah.
offered some really good insights. I'm excited for everything you have coming your way this year. You've obviously learned a lot. If
Yeah.
that's not evident from this podcast, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
excited for you to piece it all together. You were gifted
Mm-hmm.
this one final year, and I know you're going to
Man.
make the most of it.
Yeah. That's the thing, man. It all feels kind of like a blessing because I was ready to I don't know if I was going to pack it up after last year or what it was, because we didn't really talk about what my plan would have been had I not gotten this extra year. So I might have been done. I might not have been. Who knows? But I'm just not going to take this year for granted. That's all I know.
It's a great way to attack it, and I encourage
Yep.
everyone else out there that is in a similar situation to do the same
Mm-hmm.
thing. Because you never
Mm-hmm.
know when the ball is going to get ripped away from you, and it
Yep.
feels really good when the ball is given back.
Exactly. Yeah. Just let your talent take you as far as it'll afford you. And when it doesn't afford you the ball anymore, that's when you can hang it up. But I don't want to regret anything later on in my life. So I'm just going to ride it out, I guess.
Yeah, this has been awesome, man. I really appreciate it. Connor's an open book, so anybody who wants to hit him up, I'm going to volunteer his
Absolutely.
services. Just
Please do. No, yeah. I love talking to, I mean, it's been weird, especially like the younger guys in the facility now. They'll come up to me and ask me questions about like, oh, what'd you do to get where you are today? And like it's an honor to get that question asked to me, but I just feel like grandpa now.
you are an old head. Yeah, you're
Going
Unk
to
now.
Yeah, I'm absolutely gonna be Unk. It was weird thinking I was the oldest guy on the staff last year.
Uh-oh.
It's gonna be a trip this year.
Uh-oh.
Having 18-year-olds on the staff when I'm 23.
Well, hey, there's a lot of staffs out there with 24 and 25-year-olds now.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
at least you're not in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
But hey, who cares if you're old if you still have the ball in your hand?
Exactly. I'll go till I'm 45, like Rich Hill.
That's right. Well, Connor, thanks a ton for this today. This has been an awesome chat, and I look
Yeah,
forward to following the career as always.
thank you, man. I appreciate it. I had a ton of fun chopping it up with you this morning.
Big time. And to all the listeners out there, thanks for laying back with us.